Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm April Knight, in for Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, travelers between St. Thomas and St. John thought their car barge woes were over last week, but it wasn't meant to be. This week, one of the only two car ferries that are still transporting vehicles between the two islands was put out of service again and caused yet another 2 days of nightmarish waiting for inter-island drivers on Thursday. There was some relief. Here's more. It's an on-again, off-again situation for one major car barge between St. Thomas and St. John. The Captain Vic, one of the two Love City car ferries that transport vehicles between the two islands, was back in service Thursday after it was grounded again on Tuesday. The United States Coast Guard grounded the vessel after it failed its second inspection in a week.
Had to do with their bilge pump system. We went out there again yesterday and they still have not fixed that. We're not able to complete the repair. Today, this morning, they were able to. So as of this morning, the vessel is cleared.
And just like last week, this caused a long line of cars and hours of waiting for those who needed to travel with their vehicles. Last week, Wednesday, the Captain Vic was placed out of service after it failed its scheduled inspection by the Coast Guard. By Wednesday night, the ferry was back in service, but with restrictions on how much weight it could put on its ramps. That meant large vehicles were out of the question. The Captain Vic was allowed to operate throughout the 4th of July weekend, pending another inspection Tuesday this week, which it failed. Last week, Wednesday, the General 2, a third car barge, had to go in for scheduled maintenance, and Mr. B, a fourth one, was seized by the feds in January this year. As for the Captain Vic, it's operating on a conditional basis.
When they complete the repairs to their ramp, they need to notify us before it can be allowed to take on bigger vehicles.
In police reports, meanwhile, on Wednesday evening, July 6th, at around 6:30 p.m., 911 received a call about a gunshot victim. Officers responded to the incident and made contact with a 44-year-old black male who sustained injury to the upper body. Here's more from the VIPD.
During the preliminary investigation, the gunshot victim told the officers that he was with some friends hanging out when an unknown male approached him and started discharging shots. The victim was transported by ambulance to the Wang F. Louis Hospital. He remains in serious but stable condition. This incident is under investigation by the Criminal Investigations Bureau. The Virgin Islands Police Department is urging anyone with information to call the Criminal Investigations Bureau at 340-712-6024. You can call 911 or the anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers, VI, at 1-800-222-TIPS.
Also yesterday, we reported on St. Thomas police responding to shots fired in the Contant area. Today, we learned that there was indeed a victim in that incident. The victim, identified as Jay Weeks, stated that while walking with his wife heading westward across the street from the 1-800 sports bar in the area of Contant, he heard a single gunshot fired. He then realized that he had been struck and began to run for his life. He said he looked in the direction where the gunshot came from and saw a black male fleeing the area. Weeks sustained a single gunshot wound to his right wrist and was treated by the emergency room doctor on duty for his injury. He was later released, and this case is presently under investigation by the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Also, on St. Croix on Wednesday night around 8:50 p.m., a woman was robbed in the Mutual Homes area in Grove Place. According to police, a female victim stated that while entering her building, she was attacked by an unknown black individual dressed in all black, wearing a hoodie over his head. The victim stated that the male individual struck her 3 times with an aluminum baseball bat and grabbed her jewelry from around her neck and took her cash. She sustained injuries to her knee and leg and bruises on the backside of her neck. You can call 911 if you have any information. Well, budget hearings continued at the Senate on Wednesday. Executive Director for the Public Services Commission, Donald Cole, defended his agency's proposed budget. That's $1.75 million, and that's $28,000 more than last year's appropriation. Also, Patrick Farrell, director of the Office of Veterans Affairs, he testified that for fiscal year 2017, their requested general fund appropriations are $884,000. An estimated $350,000 of that is to cover personnel salaries and fringe benefits. He said another $117,000 is for operating expenses, and $300,000 would cover medical, travel, and death benefits. And then on Thursday, a few more agencies came before the Senate Finance Committee on St. Croix. The Virgin Islands National Guard's Office of the Adjutant General presented a general fund budget of $1.2 million. The Department of Labor, led by Commissioner Catherine Hendry, presented their total budget of $5.7 million. Sports, Parks, and Recreation also defended their budget of $7 million, but had to field questions and comments on the Pauli Joseph Stadium construction that lawmakers said has since stagnated.
It is unfortunate that it's stagnant. It is stagnant because the 60% number not only has been repeated by you, but also being repeated by Commissioner of Public Works and other individuals. And the thing is that we're losing money because in part with the Pauli Joseph Stadium, it's also the festival village. And remember that idea came from the concept that it would bring back the jazz and the blues festivals, the one that we used to have years ago and used to bring so much revenues to the island of St. Croix.
Well, the Humane Society program that's saving hundreds of shelter animal lives is facing a major roadblock. The Humane Society usually finds itself overcrowded with rescued animals and has absolutely no choice at times but to put them down. The shelter found a way to save them by sending them to homes in the mainland through its Pets with Wings program. But the summer heat and airline policies are endangering these same animals with homes already waiting for them. Now the shelter is asking for a non-conventional form of help from the community.
We are just met with the challenge of heat. If there's anyone with a private plane that would be willing to transport a few dogs up to the New York area, we can make sure that the rescues were willing to transport them to where they need to go, or even up to Boston. There would be someone that would pick them up. We just need help getting these dogs off island. We've looked into chartering a plane that we could take a majority of our animals out of here, but like I said, the costs are outrageous. So we're just trying to appeal to the public. If anyone knows anyone that has a private plane that's an animal lover that'd be willing to help us get some of these dogs off the island during these summer months. If they don't get shipped out and we don't have any space, we have no other alternative than to humanely put them to sleep.
The United States Coast Guard has transferred custody of 3 Dominican men suspected of drug smuggling to federal law enforcement officers on Sunday. That's following the interdiction of a Go-Fast vessel on June 23rd, just 70 nautical miles north of Arecibo in Puerto Rico. The 3 men are facing potential charges before the U.S. District Court in Puerto Rico under the Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act. One of the men is also pending charges for attempted illegal re-entry into the United States, while the other 2 are pending charges for attempted illegal entry. The disruption of this drug smuggling attempt was the result of ongoing multi-agency law enforcement efforts in support of Operation Unified Resolve, Operation Caribbean Guard, and the Caribbean Border Interagency Group. Turning our attention to the mainland, federal investigators are keeping a close eye on the shooting deaths of 2 African-American men over just the past couple of days. The 2 incidents in Louisiana and Minnesota also have protesters demanding answers and justice. Jan Pomeranz reports from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where one of the shootings took place. We want to warn you that some viewers might find these images in this report disturbing.
These police are not here to protect and serve us. They are here to assassinate us.
The fiance of a man killed by police in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, not holding back Thursday. Diamond Reynolds says she wants justice for her boyfriend Philando Castile, who died Wednesday. Reynolds live streamed the aftermath of the shooting on Facebook.
He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir.
Protesters in Minnesota gathered outside of the governor's residence early Thursday morning. The state's governor says he's reached out to federal authorities to begin an investigation.
I agree that this kind of behavior is unacceptable. It's not the norm in Minnesota.
Meanwhile, in Baton Rouge, residents are mourning the death of Alton Sterling.
We want justice. That's all we actually want is justice.
Early Tuesday, the 37-year-old was selling CDs near a convenience store. Sources say officers responded to a 911 call from a homeless man reporting Sterling had brandished a weapon. Video appears to show an officer pinning Sterling to the ground with a second officer assisting. A struggle ensues. One of them yells "gun," according to the store owner, then mortal shots are fired. The two police officers, Blaine Salamone and Howie Lake II, with 4 and 3 years on the force, have been placed on paid administrative leave. Deadly shootings in 2 states, both leaving more questions than answers.
And that was Jan Pomeranz reporting. Meanwhile, before Congress, FBI Director James Comey defended his agency's recommendation not to file charges against Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton on her use of a private email server while serving as Secretary of State. According to Comey, there's nothing that firmly establishes that Clinton and her staff knew that what they were doing was wrong.
No reasonable prosecutor would bring the second case in 100 years focused on gross negligence. And so I know that's been a source of some confusion for folks. That's just the way it is. I know the Department of Justice. I know no reasonable prosecutor would bring this case. I know a lot of my former friends are out there saying they would. I wonder where they were the last 40 years, because I'd like to see the cases they brought on gross negligence. Nobody would, nobody did. So my judgment was the appropriate resolution of this case was not with a criminal prosecution. As I said, folks can disagree about that, but I hope they know that view, not just my view, but of my team, was honestly held, fairly investigated, and communicated with unusual transparency.
Keeping an eye on the economy, here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. As you can see, the Dow is down 22, NASDAQ up 17, S&P down 1.8. Coming up on News 2, some summer camp students get a surprise visit from a VI music icon. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Virgin Islands Department of Health has reported 3 new cases of Zika in the territory. That brings the total number of confirmed cases to 32, 15 on St. Thomas, 17 on St. Croix. There was a false positive reported on St. John last week, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has since confirmed that it's not Zika. The health department continues to urge pregnant women to get tested and to take advantage of the free home inspections and larvicide services that they offer. There are also free Zika testings in 12 locations throughout the territory. Currently, 1 pregnant woman has been confirmed positive of Zika. A total of 734 pregnant women in the USVI have been tested for Zika. There are no new cases of dengue meanwhile. Also, the Department of Health made a couple of contributions to dental clinics on St. Thomas and on St. Croix. Health Department employees successfully delivered dental chairs to these clinics. The first chair was delivered on Wednesday, June 29th, to the St. Thomas East End Clinic. The second chair was delivered Wednesday, July 6th, to Frederickstead Healthcare, Inc. VI Health Commissioner Michelle Davis said she's happy to see that the chairs will be put to use in time for children going back to school. Well, if you're 60 years or older and you're having some trouble paying for your prescription drugs, the government might be able to help you out. The State Pharmaceutical Assistance Program aims to help qualifying seniors with no medical insurance pay for the cost of their prescriptions. You can go to the Department of Human Services with 1, your doctor's certificate with a type of medication, 2, proof of income. If you're single, it has to be up to $18,000. And if you're a married couple, you have to have an income of up to $30,000 a year. And 3, the cost of your medication. On St. Thomas, you can call 774-5265 and on St. Croix, 773-2323. Well, the St. Croix Chamber of Commerce has named its 2016 High School Senior Scholarship winner. The annual award went to Hector Efrain Acosta Jr., a 2016 graduate of St. Croix Central High. Acosta was presented with the award at an event held at the Cast Iron Pot restaurant on June 27th. The scholarship is for $4,000, payable $1,000 annually over 4 years, as long as Acosta maintains a minimum GPA of 3.0. Acosta has been accepted at Morehouse College in Atlanta and plans to pursue a degree in business management with a minor in communications. Congratulations. Well, students participating in a summer camp got a real treat on Thursday when Virgin Islands icon Precious stopped by and inspired them with words and song. The students were participating in the Paul M. Pearson Summer Enrichment Program, which is a collaboration between the Virgin Islands Housing Authority and the Virgin Islands Police Department. According to VIPD Sergeant Bridget Cano, she just bumped into Pressure that day, asked him if he wanted to speak to the kids, and he said he would love to. Here's a bit of that interaction.
So nice, so nice. Send cry full of your vibe. So nice, so nice. Send China real paradise. So nice, so nice. Sing that part for me now. We got so much to do. We got so much to do. Yeah. Never rest no fool. Mama sent me school.
Great job there. Stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming your way next.
Pocket of dry air in place throughout the Virgin Islands. As we check out to the current satellite, and notice really not a whole lot going on. Now, 2 hours south around the windwards, we do have a tropical wave that we have to continue to monitor. That's allowing for a couple of scattered showers and even some thunderstorms expected to blossom here, mainly as we take you into the day tomorrow. But for us here, well away from that, we can expect tranquil conditions tonight, and even as we take you into the day tomorrow as well. Do expect fair weather conditions, mainly clear skies as we wrap things up today, and temperatures tumbling right back down into the lower 80s. So very mild night expected. We're expecting the dust in the air to continue for tomorrow. Lots of dry air in place. Temperatures will soar into the 90s here in St. John. So we'll see a bit of a hazy sunshine, especially for the afternoon hours. How about St. Thomas? Very similar conditions here. Hazy sun throughout the day with temperatures in the low 90s for an afternoon high. We'll be approaching 90 degrees now in St. Croix. Mainly sunny skies in this area, keeping things pretty tranquil as we're not expecting any sort of wet weather. How about the marine forecast in the Atlantic side? Waves expected to be anywhere between 2 to 4 feet with an easterly flow, 8 to 16 knots. And the marine forecast on the Caribbean side of things, waves expected to climb up to 4 feet with an easterly flow here as well, and very similar to the Atlantic, 8 to 16 knots in this area. Checking things out, the extended forecast as we head into the weekend, we can expect a couple of showers in some places. We do have the tropical wave that is set to impact us, let's say Sunday to Monday, where that's going to produce a couple of scattered showers, and temperatures will range from the upper 80s to the low 90s. We will continue to remain in the 90s Monday and into Tuesday. Looking a little bit better Tuesday, can expect mostly sunny skies, temperatures falling back into the 80s later at night.
Thank you for that. Here's a quick peek at our News 2 weather picture. It's from Jerson Estevez, 5th grader from LCR Community Learning Center, and he drew us a simple, beautiful weather picture with sunny skies, sunshine, blue skies, rolling green fields, and birds in the air. Thank you for that, Jerson. Send us your News 2 weather picture too. News 2 Innovative Business Center, 461122 Park Suite 300, St. Thomas VI 00802. Stick around, News 2 Sports is coming up next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. In what has been one of the craziest NBA off seasons in the free agency era, another NBA icon has changed teams. Last night, Dwayne Wade announced he is leaving the only team he has ever known, the Miami Heat, and signing with the Chicago Bulls. Wade, a 12-time All-Star, a 3-time NBA champion, an NBA Finals MVP, and a surefire Hall of Famer, had been locked in bitter negotiations with Heat president Pat Riley over what else? Respect and cash. During the last several years, Wade has taken less than his market value so that he could sign top-tier free agents like Chris Bosh and LeBron James, which ultimately brought back-to-back NBA titles to South Beach. Now, the 34-year-old Wade wants his due, yet the most the Heat would offer was a 2-year deal worth $40 million. So D. Wade, a Chicago native, looked around and decided to go back home, and he's agreed to a 2-year, $47 million deal with the Bulls. Chicago promptly traded Mike Dunleavy and Jose Calderon to make cap space. While it's clear Wade is no longer in his playing prime, he played in 74 games last season, the most in 5 years, averaged 19 points per game, and was named an All-Star for the 12th consecutive season. He will team up with free agent signee and quirky Rajon Rondo to form one of the more interesting backcourts in the NBA. Wade, the Heat front office, and Heat fans would have preferred for him to play his entire career in a Miami Heat uniform, but sometimes circumstances, ego, respect, and money change things. From crossover dribbles to cross-court shots, let's leap across the pond to the All-England club for the women's semifinals at Wimbledon. 36-year-old Venus Williams taking on Angelique Kerber for the right to play in the women's finals on Saturday. After winning the first set 6-4, Kerber had Venus on the run in the second set. Literally. And then the pretty drop shot. Match point, back and forth we go. And Kerber with the stellar cross-court shot for the win. It's on to the finals for Kerber, who will face Serena Williams, who needed all of 48 minutes to win her semifinal match versus Elena Vesnina 6-2, 6-0. Serena will be making her 9th Wimbledon final and her 4th attempt at tying Steffi Graf's Open-era record of 22 Grand Slam titles. I think she's got a real good shot. That's it for sports. April, back to you.
Thank you for that, Gary, and we'd like to thank you for joining us for the latest in news, weather, and sports. We'll see you next time.